and analyze what we Indians feel after reading this. तो इसको फिनिश करना है और इन द एंड इसको देखना है कि हम इंडियंस हम लोग जो हैं ये इसको पढ़ के हम लोग का थॉट प्रोसेस क्या होता है और उसको पढ़ने के बाद व्हाट डू इंडियंस थिंक अबाउट इट, हम लोग की क्या सोच है और किधर से एक एनालिसिस हो जाता है। क्रिटिकल अप्रिसिएशन इसे वो कहते हैं। एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन भी आता है, क्रिटिकली अप्रिशिएट द ऑथर्स कंटेंट। तो जो एक इंडियन का थॉट है वो सबका एक साथ नहीं हो सकता है, लेकिन एक जनरलाइज्ड व्यू है इसमें which will be helpful for you. So I will be reading it out. So people are there. So the last part and the last and the concluding part. So E.M. Foster was one person who is going to help you a lot in your thinking process. And you will see as I conclude what we think about him and how he observed India as a Britisher. So continuing with my reading, I'll be explaining it all along. I was traveling one day to Baroda. Now, here he is talking about one incident when he was traveling to Baroda. So I was traveling to Baroda. I was traveling one day to Baroda in a crowded second-class carriage. He was traveling in a second-class carriage. Now, this is quite clear why he was traveling, why wasn't he flying, why wasn't he going in the first class AC compartments, why he was traveling in a crowded second-class carriage. Because he really wanted to know the Indians. So, what the Indians, not the Indians, the intellectuals he had already met in the pen club, but he wanted to meet the Indians, the Indians who were the common people, the commoners. He wanted to meet them, so he was going on in a crowded second-class carriage. Indians. Now he is talking about train compartment where who were the people, what were the things happening. So what was there? Indians, my luggage, their luggage, myself, and a number of loose oranges were piled up together in confusion. Now, who all were there in the train compartment? Indians were there. The common people, the Indians were there, and the author's luggage. So see the minute details, the small things which he has also noted. The Indians, his luggage, my luggage, he says, and then their luggage, unke saman, my luggage, their luggage, myself. And then he talks about himself. I'm also there, very much there. And a number of loose oranges were piled up together in confusion. So all these people were piled up together in confusion, including some oranges. In the train compartments, there are some sellers, there are vendors who walk into the compartment for brisk selling. The chai wala or the whatever, you know it and I know it. They come into the compartments for brisk selling of their goods. So there were oranges, there were people who were selling oranges, loose oranges. It means you can buy also one. It's not that you have, this is not a wholesale market. You will not buy the whole thing, whatever is there. But you will easily buy one or two. Loose oranges it's all piled up. So people in the crowded compartment, imagine a crowded compartment where a lot of people are there sitting, and then there are vendors, and then there are oranges. He particularly he talks about loose oranges in the compartment, and all in confusion. People are always confused in a train compartment. कभी भी झगड़ा हो सकता है वहाँ पे. But then people are confused. Who is going where? Why this? Why that? Why then? Why the other? Why not now? Why then? So people are always confused in a crowded train compartment. If you're sitting in a with the common people over there. So all piled together in confusion, and the Indians were arguing. And he closes the paragraph by saying that all these Indians, they were arguing. इन ट्रेन कंपार्टमेंट्स बहस हमेशा होती है, किसी न किसी बात पे आर्गुमेंट्स हो जाता है, कभी टिकट्स को लेके, कभी प्लेस को लेकर के. So these people were arguing. So the language was Gujarati. Now he's talking about going to Baroda. Baroda जा रहे हो. The language was Gujarati, but they used so many English words that I followed. And then he says that they were speaking Gujarati, but in between they were also speaking English, so which the writer could follow. He says, that I followed what they were saying. So they were arguing about religion. Now the author has come to know what was the बहस किस बात की हो रही थी. So in crowded train compartments, their बहस का जो agenda, the मुद्दा था, जो topic था, they were arguing about religion and free thought. Now what is this free thought? Free thought, when a person is free to freedom of press, freedom of speech, whatever is in your mind, you can speak it out. It was a free thought, and you indulge in whatever you're thinking, whatever you want to say, you speak it out, and you speak out loud. You speak out your mind loud. So they were arguing about religion and free thought. I intervened. So when the matter was getting too hot, and the matter was getting out of control, then the author says, I intervened. Intervened means that he interrupted. I intervened and was welcomed into the conversation. So when he interrupted, they included him in their conversation. So which was now carried on entirely on English. But when he was included in their conversation, they switched automatically to entire English. There was no Gujarati. They were speaking only English. Out of courtesy to me, because of the Britisher, they chose to speak English. I did not follow it, but rather understood. But they peeled me an orange, and we parted friends. So some of the words he understood, some he did not. And then when he was getting out of the train, they gave him an orange. He says they peeled me an orange, and we parted friends. So he was already friendly with the people over there. And before he got down from the train, they gave him an orange, which was a kind of gesture of friendship. Indeed, it is difficult to conclude an Indian railway journey on any other note. So he says, it is indeed difficult. You cannot conclude one journey, you cannot conclude everything in just one journey, an Indian railway journey on any other note. So this is a very good that he went there, he was there with them, he spoke to them, he heard them. Most of all, he was a very good listener. Now, people who are very good writers, people uh, who observe a lot, people who remain silent, and silently when you observe, you learn a lot of things. Silence is one thing which, if you just sit down quietly and observe what is happening in the tree, you might write a novel. So he was a very good. He was very observant. He used to observe a lot of things, and then whatever things which he thought, whatever was his observation, on the basis of which he came out with these essays. I don't think they are particularly friendly in the street. And then he says, okay, in the crowded compartment, they were friendly because they have no other choice. But on the streets, they were not friendly. So I don't think they are particularly friendly in the street. If you ask them the way, they are suspicious. So रास्ता पूछेंगे अगर तो वो लोग doubtful हो जाएगा. This is he is a Britisher and he's asking for address or रास्ता पूछ रहा है, way पूछ रहा है. Then they were suspicious. Why he's asking? But squashed in a railway carriage, they seem to expand. But as I said, sitting outside on the streets, they were not very friendly. They were suspicious. Why he is asking the address of a certain place? But in a crowded compartment, they don't have any choice but to include the person who is sitting there. And why somebody who is friendly, they include. Normally, in a train compartment, people who are friendly, they spend a good time in the journey. So they can expand. It means they can uh, open up to you. They can talk to you. So you can expand. But then on the streets, they shied away. They did not answer any question, and they were quite suspicious. So, and my reason for wanting English to be the common language for India is a purely selfish reason. And then um, he admits that my reason for wanting English in India to be the common language for India is a purely selfish reason. Selfish reason because he cannot understand Hindi, he cannot understand our language. So, why he wanted purely English in India? Because this was the only language which he can understand. I like these chance encounters. And then he says he likes it. He likes meeting people. One thing you can say, E.M. Foster is a people person. He likes meeting people. He likes being around people, and he is all for people. Like he wants to delve inside your mind. If he meets you, he'll talk to you about the whole lot of things, uh, right from the beginning to the end, until you stop telling. So he will let you speak. He was one kind of person who let people out of their bags, like whatever. A person like Foster, you cannot keep secrets. You will have to. He was such a person. He was a very friendly person, and all in all, we say somebody who is very who likes communicating, who likes meeting people. That is one reason coming all the way from leaving his hometown and coming over to India just to discover. Just imagine the problems which he might have been facing, but then he did not. That did not stop him from coming to India. So I value far more the relationship of years. And if Indians had not spoken English, my own life would have been infinitely poorer. And then, what a beautiful way that the poet ends the paragraph. Like, if had Indians not spoken English, his life would have been poorer. It means he would not have known a lot of things. So he thinks he is richer by thoughts. His thoughts have improved, his thinking has improved, his knowledge has improved, his thoughts have expanded only for one reason, that these Indians were speaking English, and he came to know a lot of. He educated himself, so he trained himself into thinking our style, our way of thinking. So this is one way that uh, uh, people should be very thankful that this is one person who loved India unconditionally, no matter what. So what a beautiful thing to say, that had Indian not spoken English, he would not have known so much. He would not have known India. So why he knew, how he knew India? Because of the language. So this is the concluding paragraph. The last paragraph in this India again is the when you tell a story. This is like a story. Like there is a beginning, there is a middle part, and there is the now is the concluding part. We are concluding. In every story, there has to be a beginning. So we began the middle part, the body part we have done, and now how this author summarizes the whole thing and coming to an end, putting an end to this essay. So, last short paragraph. My visit ended all too soon. And then he said, and very soon it was time to go. Look at the expression. My visit ended all too soon. Like the class ended all too soon. Sometimes you want the class to continue on and on and on, but then it completely it is the time is out, and you might want to ask, you might have wanted to ask questions, but we were not able to because the time, we were running out of time. So the author says, "जाने का वक्त बहुत जल्दी आ गया." So the visit ended all too soon. So he wanted to stay more, but he could not overstay. The visa is there. You're only allowed for a certain period of time. So it all ended. All good things, you must understand this. All good things, as all good things come to an end. This too ended, and it was time now to go back. And so he says, my visit ended all too soon. On a Friday afternoon in December, it was again a Friday. Now he came on Friday and he's going back on Friday. Right? Today too is Friday. So my visit ended all too soon. On a Friday afternoon in December, it was again a Friday. I was walking about in the sunshine of Karachi. He was in Karachi. So he took off from Karachi. I was walking about in the sunshine of Karachi. It was daytime and he was walking in Karachi. Walking about means just taking a stroll, taking a walk. And on the Sunday evening, I was in London. And Sunday, he was in London. So already he is back home. He did not want to leave India, but then he had to go back. And now he's in London. Our train was icy cold. So, train back home in London, our train was icy cold. It was biting cold. December in London, you can imagine it is really, really cold. So, it arrived at Waterloo 2 hours late. So, he says, look at the comparison. He came to India early, before schedule, and he is arriving at his hometown. It was 2 hours late. Midnight. It was 2 hours late midnight. Thick fog. The weather was really bad. Winter, thick fog. Refreshment rooms closed. Waiting rooms closed. Local trains gone. No taxi could leave the station. So he here is in a bad suit. He is in a very bad state of mind. Going back to his hometown, arriving late, 2 hours past midnight, it means at 2 a.m. And then how he sums it up with commas. Like midnight, thick fog, refreshment rooms closed, like you could not have coffee, waiting rooms closed since it was very late, local trains gone, all the last train already gone. So he had nothing else to do but to sit and wait at the airport. Local trains gone, no taxi could leave the station. Yeah, I was at the station. So no taxi could leave the station, right? So something, a dull feeling is there. He's feeling a bit of nostalgic about leaving, homesick about thinking of India. And look at the last sentence. It was not much of a return, and this sentence says it all. कि वापस आना उतना अच्छा नहीं लगा. So it was not much of a return. This was not kind of a return which I had wanted. ऐसा return हम नहीं चाहते थे. It was not like in India. And the second line, he says the last line, which talks so much about the personality, which reveals his personality. It was not much of a return. It was not like the arrival in Delhi. So वापस आना इस बार उनको उतना अच्छा नहीं लगा, और ये वैसा नहीं था जैसा मैं दिल्ली में मेरा स्वागत हुआ करता था. Not the way where I was welcomed in Delhi. There were a lot of people there coming to taking home from the airport. So these two lines are fairly important, and it reveals the entire personality. This is the climax, and this is one of the finest lines in the essay which has written. A lot of lines which you can take away. A lot of lines are take away. This line is very good. I think I would like to use this word, or use this line, or use his thought in my life. Like you cannot say no to Foster. Now that you have known Foster, what he was, how he was, so nobody can say no to this kind of a person. So again, I'm reading out the last line, which reveals a lot of things about this person. It was not much of a return. हिंदी में इसका मतलब ये होता है कि वापस आना, इसका कोई खास नहीं लगा, कुछ अच्छा नहीं लगा. इट वॉज नॉट मच. ठीक है, कमिंग बैक होम, बट नॉट मच. इट वॉज नॉट मच ऑफ अ रिटर्न. वापसी उतना अच्छा नहीं लगा. Now the reasons, because he came late, he was late, and there were no trains, and he could not go back home, and the last train had already gone, and the refreshment rooms was all closed, the waiting room closed. So what he was doing, he was just simply waiting at the waiting. So he was waiting, and then the thoughts came into his mind that it was not much of a return, and summing it all up, like it was not like the arrival in Delhi. So not like when he had arrived at Delhi, his train was uh, behind him. He reached hours before. I think half an hour before the scheduled time he had come there, and he was surprised that nobody is there to see him. Then suddenly he realized that I have people might be coming on the time I had given them. But then arriving early, and when nobody was there, he feels lost. He says, "Are we lost? Nobody is here." But then when it was time, people came, and they gave him a warm welcome. So he was missing that warm welcome, and here in London, in my own hometown, there he is, and he's feeling. Now he could have said that, yes, I feel. Just imagine in your hometown if you feel lost, and coming back to your hometown if somebody is not feeling that good. Homecoming is welcome for everybody. Everybody wants to come home. No, they all want to come home. But then this person going back home, he ends the essay on a sad note, like it was not much of a return, and it was not like the arrival at Delhi. So he compares himself. He compares the meetings, the receptions in India, and how he in the icy cold weather there he's all alone, and which just well stuck, and until the morning he has to wait there till the morning. This is how he ends this essay. And about the author you probably already know, but I'm giving it out again so that you can understand a little better and write. Please make notes of your summary on the basis of what I've read. I don't know whether you're making notes or not, but then even listening is very important. Listening skills are very good. To listen to people silently, quietly, you will learn a lot. So listening is also very important. I read for two reasons. You know the content, what the writer has written, number one, and number two, I read for pronunciation. So this word, this letter, and when you read the correct you will learn the way words are pronounced. So, Edward Morgan Foster was born in 1879 and died 1970. Yes, he was an essayist, a novelist, a critic, and he is considered perhaps the greatest English novelist of the present century. He has a special appeal for Indians because of his sympathetic understanding. Now, these lines you will have to know and you will have to understand. You will have to write this in your own words. Uh, he has a great appeal for Indian because of the sympathetic understanding of India and Indian conditions. So he understood India. He knows them too well, and he has a sympathetic approach. A passage to India, his masterpiece, describes intimate relationship between Indians and Britishers. So if you get to read this a passage to India, you will get to know a lot more about his work and his masterpiece, which describes solely and very intimately the relationship between Indians and Britishers. Foster's visit Foster visited India thrice. His last visit to India was made in 1945. He had come to attend the Penn Conference at Jaipur. On his return from India He gave two broadcast talks on BBC, which marked his impression of India and Indians. The present piece is an abridgment of one of his talks and is a modest and a model of elegant and conversational prose of today. Foster appears to be extremely fair and impartial. He is quite fair and impartial. He is not against anyone. He is not for anyone. He is just impartial. He sees things as they are, and he says and he tells as to the story as he sees it. So he is not against anything, and he is not supporting anyone. So he is impartial. So Foster appears to be extremely fair and impartial on his views, and very few of us will have any complaint against what he says about. So none of the Indians, we don't have anything against what he has says, what he says, what he wrote. So and nobody has to complain about anything. Nobody can complain either. So very few of us will have any complaint against what he says about overwhelming importance of politics in present day life. So you cannot deny what he says about. Yes, people are responding quite a lot about even today. Politics is one thing, one subject which is very hotly debated. The lifting of Parda system among Muslim women, the freedom of women in a class as a class, the poverty and malnutrition. So you cannot deny all these things. The talking about politics, talking about the lifting of the Parda system among women, and then which also talks about the freedom of women. The poverty, and then he talks about the external factors of the external factors, which is the changelessness. So this is what the real India, what he describes as the poverty and malnutrition of the people, and above all, the decline in the quality of English spoken by the Indians today. So even I feel that there's a decline among earlier people, like they were speaking English quite, and they were speaking quite good. But today, I can say there is a decline amongst English speakers. People don't speak English. So above all, the decline in the quality of English. People speak, but the quality somehow is missing. The quality of English spoken by the Indians today. So why does decline? I don't know. The decline, but the decline is there, and the spoken English is all. It's not only about spoken English. It's about all about the basic English. You see, I speak English. You might say I know English. I can understand English. But what are you doing to improve your English? Uh, do you have any choice but to improve? आपको कोई choice है ही नहीं. You need to improve English, and one of the listening is one of the things which you are doing. You're listening to me speaking. You're listening to other teachers also, and especially literature class. Why this is English? Because the content is in English. So I'm reading word for word sentences because you need to know the entire text. And this will help you pass your exam. One reason you pass your exam, but that is not why you are taught at CIMAGE. You are taught here for your knowledge, your skill. And of course, a lot of people, all of you must have come to know a change. A person, books can change your life. So if you read if you read lots, if you listen to people, what others, why literature is important. So this is one essay which opens doors, like how a Britisher came to India, explored India, and then he wrote about India. This is to be seen. This is to be taken into account. How you come to know, ठीक है, exam pass करना है, उसी बहाने ही सही, but then you've come to know these people. So the next class will take into will take up On Being a Bore, which is another essay by Robert Lind. So, any questions about on being on India again? Yes.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Then I'm going to ask you questions until the time runs out. Time is running out. Yeah. No questions. Roll number 12, B1, Ankit Raj. Is he around?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of a person was E.M. Foster?
Next class में क्वेश्चन पूछेगा.
Yes.
नेक्स्ट क्लास में क्वेश्चन पूछेगा. अभी तो पढ़ लेते हैं एक बार और.
What kind of a person he was? ऐसे पूरी खत्म हो गई है. What type of a person he was? पिछले 3 क्लास से हम पढ़ते चले आ रहे हैं, समझाते चले आ रहे हैं. Yes.
मैम बोल तो रहा हूँ नेक्स्ट क्लास में क्वेश्चन पूछेगा. इस बार नहीं हो रहा है.
क्या? जवाब नहीं मिलेगा तो अटेंडेंस नहीं बनेगा. तो हम यही समझ रहे हैं कि ऑन करके आप कहीं चले जाते हैं. Yes, who can answer this question? Raise your hands. No answer, no. आज अटेंडेंस बनेगा नहीं किसी का. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Why was he sad returning home from Karachi? What happened when he reached London?
Ma'am, he liked India very much because of traditionals and cultures. He was very much.
I asked what happened when he was back home.
He misses.
He was not very warm welcomed by London peoples, and so he was missing the days when he was greeted with a very warm welcome at Delhi airport.
Okay, no,
But since in his homeland,
in London, but what happened when he reached home? Why he felt sad? What was the ache inside him?
Because there was no local train. All the waiting room were closed.
When you answer the question, it means yes, you are listening attentively. And those who are not answering, they will not be marked absent. They will not be marked present. What's the use of coming to a class that you are not able to answer one question? I like people who can are at least trying to answer questions. So why did he say it was not like his return to India?
yes, ma'am.
What was the last line and why he says that it was not like his return to India? Why did he say not much of a return? What does it mean? क्या मतलब होता है? It was not much of a return. I think I've read this explained quite a few times.
When the author has attended or done.
Yeah, you're sleeping. Explain the line. It was not much of a return.
मैम
It was
मतलब
not
वापस
much of a return. What does this mean?
मैम मतलब ये राइटर को वापस आना कुछ खास नहीं लगा.
आकांक्षा प्रयास मुझसे नहीं पूछ रहा है, I'm asking Adiba.
Okay, ma'am. Sorry.
If you have woken up, Adiba, जाग गई हो तो जवाब दो.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, ma'am.
Come on, where's the answer? आज तुम absent हो जाओगी नहीं.
नहीं आ रहा, बहुत कट के आ रहा, नहीं आ रहा.
कि कुछ भी नहीं आ रहा था. कट के आप आ रहे थे, जा रहे थे ना. You were hopping between coming and going from the class. No?
No, ma'am. I was listening, ma'am, but network problem. आपका आवाज अच्छे से नहीं आ रहा है.
तो बाकी लोग जवाब कैसे दे रहे हैं?
Hello.
Yes. You're not able to answer one question. When was he born?
Ma'am, he was born in 1924.
Ma'am, in 1879.
आपसे पूछ रहे हैं क्या?
मैम हम नहीं बोले.
I think the next time I don't.
Ma'am, he was born in London.
It's quality talk to me. Huh? This is not going to help you at all. Hopping in and out of class and everything. You're breaking and voice is not coming. Huh? All these lame excuses. Huh? What's the point of coming when you cannot answer questions? Anybody who is not able to answer questions, they will be marked absent. Coming, hopping in and hopping out.
Ma'am, he was born in London. Hello.
Yeah.
In 1879, he was born in London. Hello. Hello.
मैम लेफ्ट हो गई.